If I told you the life you've been dreaming about isn't completely out of reach, and maybe you just never stopped and considered how much would it actually cost to live the life you've been daydreaming about? Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that I heard about actually a couple of years ago, and it was one of those things that made me stop and rethink how I view an entire concept. Okay, I know this sounds a little bit dramatic, but have you ever actually sat down and put pen to paper and think about how much does the life that you keep daydreaming about actually cost? I think as humans, we have this tendency to overestimate how much something will be if we want it really, really badly. So if we have some really big goals that we set or some kind of thing that we want to achieve, we assume that is out of reach because it's something that's really big and it's the reason we set it as a goal. And I think when we think about living our dream life, that is one of those things that we just assume it's unattainable until we are in a certain type of position that we might not actually ever get to. So I want to talk about making your dream life a reality by realizing that it's probably not that far out of reach as you might think it is. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do when we're thinking about what is our dream life is to actually think about what would that look like. So for me, the best way to do this is to actually journal about it. And one of the ways that I love to journal is by doing it in such a way where you're writing from the perspective that it's already yours and it's happening today. So what I mean by that is instead of journaling that one day I hope I live in a house that looks like this and is in the city, I have this type of car, I would instead journal from the perspective that it's already mine. So I would say, I woke up today in my dream home, which is overlooking the lake in this really nice neighborhood. And in my garage, I have my dream car. So really putting yourself in the present tense of having and living the dream life that you want to have. And the reason this is a fun exercise to start with is to actually think about what is your dream life? What does that actually look like? And what are some of the key things that would make it this dream life? As you're journaling, ask yourself a couple of different questions to really set yourself up for this next part that we're going to do where we're actually calculating how much your dream life will cost. So think about things like, where do you live? What city? What country? Do you live in a house or an apartment? How many people do you live with? Is it by yourself, with a partner, a family? So really try to think about what type of home you want to have in your dream life. The next thing you want to think about is, where do you spend your time? So the hobbies, the places you like to go to in your town, the type of work you want to do, and really channel a day in a life of what is it that you're doing throughout your day in this dream life. Next, think about who are you spending your time with? Is it with your family, with your partner, with your friends? Is it meeting new people around the world? The people that you want to spend your time with. Next, envision in your dream life, what are some of the things that you own? So this is where you can really get creative about the kind of car that you drive, the type of clothes that you're wearing, things that you have in your home, and really related to the types of things that you would want to have and own in this dream life. Lastly, I want you to journal and ask yourself this question: what types of emotions do I want to invoke in my dream life? So really think about, is it security? Is it freedom? Is it independence? What is the emotion that you hope and want to have as you are dreaming about this dream life? As you finish journaling, I'm going to take this all into the next step where we're actually going to break it down and calculate how much our dream life actually costs. Now, I did this myself, and like I mentioned, I've heard about this exercise a couple of years ago, and I did do it back then, and I just redid it this morning again, and it made me realize that the life, and I mean like my realistic dream life. I know that some of us might say, oh, my dream life includes, having a private jet, living like the Kardashians, like whatever it might be. And that's totally fine if that is your dream life. But I think for this exercise, really think about like what is truly realistic dream life that I want to have based on where I am moving forward in my current path. And so when I did this exercise myself, it made me realize that my dream life is really not that far out of reach. And that's really the point of this exercise, is to get excited that it's actually possible and you can do it sooner than you might actually think. The way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna have some categories that I want you to write down on a piece of paper. Now we're gonna actually do some research, and I know it might not sound very fun, but hopefully it is, because the research would be for things that you would have in your dream life. So I'm talking some Zillow searching or wherever you want to look for your future home, looking at the kind of car you want to have, where you want to live, and just trying to get an estimate of what this might actually cost you, because we are going to break this down. And so what we're going to do is, on a piece of paper, I want you to start off by writing down the category of housing. So this is where you're going to write the estimated monthly cost of anything to do with housing. So that could be your rent or mortgage payment, any utilities, home insurance that you might want to have. And so do some research, see what that actually looks like for, your dream home. Maybe this is that modern Mediterranean home in an amazing neighborhood where you are on a hill overlooking the lake. Next, I want you to put the category of transportation. So this is where you're going to really think about the kind of car you want to drive. Maybe you have a driver in a private car, whatever that looks like. Break down the cost for that. So I'm talking about the car payment, I'm talking about gas, car insurance. Write down the estimate for what that will cost for you. Next, I want you to consider your daily living. So these are the cost of things like groceries, clothing that you might need, throughout the month, so shopping, things like that. And those are really your daily living expenses. All right, the next category is health and wellness. So this is probably, for me, the most fun category when I dream about my dream life is in this bucket. So think about the costs per month for things like getting your hair done, getting your nails done, getting a massage, maybe going to therapy, maybe getting a facial, gym membership costs, maybe your Pilates studio costs. So anything related to health and wellness, what does that look like in your dream life on a monthly basis expense? So put that down in the health and wellness category. Next one is also a fun category that I had a lot of fun thinking about, is travel. I think a lot of us, when we think about a dream life, is being able to travel and see the world. So the way that I broke this down myself is thinking about international travel and domestic travel. So I decided, how many international trips do I envision myself going on in my dream life? And then how many domestic trips I envision. And from there, I was able to kind of back into what an average cost of each trip would be. If I think about, for an international trip, how much would the flight be, hotel, experiences while you're in that place, food, and then maybe some shopping that you like to do during your travel. And that same thing for domestic, but probably cheaper flights, maybe shorter time length of the trip. For my dream life international trips, I put down a week, whereas for my domestic trips, I made them shorter, longer weekend trips. So that's your travel category. And then the last couple are things related to education and hobbies. So for me, in this category, I got excited about the books that I like to buy on a monthly basis. How much would that cost? Any hobbies that you enjoy doing? So what is the cost per month to do those activities? And then last but not least is giving and investing. So in your dream life, are you someone who donates money to certain organizations? Are you someone who wants to invest your money? And I'll have a whole series about the importance of investing, but for the purpose of how much would our dream life cost, I think we have to put ourselves in the position of, I am living the dream life now, and what would that cost now? Whereas when we think about investing, we're actually thinking about, I want to live my dream life in the future, so I'm preparing myself for that at that time. And so again, maybe you still continue to heavily invest in this dream life. That's probably going to be a big category that will bump up the actual cost of this dream life. Okay, so now that you have all of these categories and the estimated monthly cost, from here you actually see how much you would need each month to live your dream life. And then of course, the final step is to take this amount, multiply by 12, and that is your annual cost of your dream life. Now, when I did this for myself, and again, I was really looking at it from the perspective of my true realistic dream life, trying to be a realistic daydreamer, if that makes sense. And so I was actually really surprised that, okay, it is gonna sound like a lot, but when you think about your dream life, it didn't feel like it was as crazy as it might sound. So it was just over $200,000 a year, which again is a lot of money, by every sense. But for me, just seeing that number was kind of fun and exciting, because although it is a lot of money, it is something that I think if you have different income streams, if you have a high-paying job, if you have some savings, if you wanted to, you might be able to make this dream life happen sooner than you think. It might not have to be something that's happening in 10 years down the line. It could be something that you are able to achieve and reach in the next couple of years. So see what that number is for you, and just think about, is this something that feels a little bit more attainable than maybe it did in the past? So I hope you enjoyed this fun little way of calculating the actual cost of your dream life. I definitely really enjoyed this exercise. I also loved the journaling part beforehand. I love to journal. I love to journal, especially in the present tense, like I mentioned. So writing from the perspective of already having the things that I want to have in my life. And from there, just kind of having fun researching the homes was fun. Who doesn't love scrolling on Zillow and other places to look for dream homes, and where would I want to go on vacation and how much would that cost? So I had a lot of fun with this exercise, and I hope you did too. So let me know if you enjoy this kind of a little bit of a different concept of looking at your finances and really tying it into visualizing what kind of life you want to have and being able to be one step closer to attaining it. Now, in my next few videos, I will go into a little bit more details into actually how can you get to a place where you are able to afford this type of life. So getting a little bit more into detail about investing, where should you be putting your money, everything to do with kind of increasing your net worth and even what that actually means to be able to live this dream life. So if you like content like that, hit subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.